The clock on the wall ticked past midnight, each second echoing through the quiet apartment like a heartbeat. I stood by the doorway, coat in hand, trying not to wake her. Maya looked peaceful, finally. After weeks of hospital visits, bad news, and long silences, she'd fallen asleep on the couch, her head resting against the throw pillow she always said smelled like lavender and home. I didn't want to wake her. She needed rest. But as I turned to leave, her voice, soft, shaky, and half asleep, cut through the stillness. "Stay, just until the sun comes up." I froze. She wasn't supposed to be awake. When I turned back, she was looking at me, eyes tired, but glimmering with something fragile. Hope, maybe. Or fear. "I thought you were asleep," I whispered. "I was trying to be," she said with a faint smile. "But it's hard to sleep when you feel someone about to walk away." I set my coat down. "You should rest." "Please," she murmured, patting the space beside her. "Just until the sun comes up." So, I stayed. At first, it was silent. The hum of the fridge filled the air. A car passed outside. I watched the rise and fall of her chest, wondering how long it had been since we'd simply been, without words, without pretending. After a while, she spoke. "Do you ever think about how fragile life is? One phone call, one diagnosis, and suddenly everything that mattered yesterday feels small." Her voice trembled. I nodded. "I think about it every day." She looked at me then, really looked. "You always act like you're fine. Like nothing touches you." I swallowed. "Someone has to be strong." "Maybe," she said, "but sometimes strength is just letting someone see you break." That hit harder than I expected. Because she was right. I'd been the strong one, the helper, the planner, the problem solver, ever since the night the doctor said, "Stage 4. I told myself I had to be unshakable. But in the process, I'd forgotten how to feel. We sat there in silence again, the air heavy but not uncomfortable. Then, without thinking, I reached for her hand. She squeezed it, weakly, but enough to say thank you. Outside, the darkness began to soften. The first streaks of dawn slipped through the curtains, painting her face in pale gold. She smiled faintly. "You see that? The sunrise?" She nodded. "That's why I wanted you to stay. It reminds me that even the darkest nights end." I blinked back tears. "You sound like someone who still believes in happy endings." She laughed, a small, tired sound that felt like music. "Maybe not endings. But I still believe in mornings." We watched the sun climb, slow and beautiful. For a moment, time stopped. No hospitals. No fear. Just two people holding on to the quiet between heartbreak and hope. When she finally fell asleep again, sunlight spilling over her, I knew something had changed, not in her, but in me. I realized that kindness isn't always about grand gestures. Sometimes, it's just about staying. Staying a little longer when someone's afraid to be alone. Staying silent when words can't help. Staying until the sun comes up. A few weeks later, after she was gone, I kept that same couch near the window. Every morning, when the light crept in, I'd sit there with a cup of coffee and whisper, "I stayed." And every sunrise reminded me. Even in loss, love doesn't disappear. It just changes shape, becomes memory, becomes warmth, becomes the reason you keep going. Moral. Sometimes, the most powerful act of love isn't fixing someone's pain, it's simply being there through it. Staying when it's easier to leave. Waiting with them until the sun rises again.